Hey, what's going on, traders? It's Johnny here with Trader X. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. And today I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys another recap and let you know how my trading went. So if you guys can take a look over here, you guys can see it was a big red day today, right? So I was down $194, and that consisted of trading solely SQQQ, which is the Nasdaq Inverse ETF. And these are all my field orders over here. The timestamps are on the left. And then these are the price points I bought in and out at and the ETF I traded, right? So this is for your reference. You guys can pause and take a look at that if you want. But I want to get right into the recap. So what I wanted to talk about today was pretty similar to what happened yesterday. So as you guys can see, the NASDAQ is very choppy. So what we currently are looking at is the 1 day, 1 minute chart of the NASDAQ future. And the reason why I believe I did so poorly today and what led to my big red day was the fact that I was using a heavy dollar size when direction was very unclear. So I literally mentioned this in yesterday's video, right? On days where the NASDAQ is very choppy, it's probably in your best interest to not use your full dollar amount. And what I mean by that is, so I lost almost $200 today, and that was given the fact that I was trading with over $10,000. So I decided to use a big dollar amount on a day when I knew it had the chance of being choppy. And how exactly did I know the Nasdaq had a chance of being choppy today like it was? Well, if we take a look at a bigger time frame, for example, like the 10-day, 30-minute chart, it should really come as no surprise that the Nasdaq struggled to really find a direction today. And the reason why I say that is if you look at the bigger time frame of the Nasdaq, you can see that, the past 10 days have been very bearish for the Nasdaq. And what it does is it will have a day where it will consistently sell off, right? Clear direction, clear patterns, these lower highs, lower lows. Those are beautiful days to trade. Those are the days where you really should be using a heavy dollar amount. And the reason why I say that is direction is very clear. So on this day, as we can see here, the Nasdaq was consistently selling off, right? So if you got into the inverse ETF SQQQ, you could have made a killing. And especially if you get in with a heavy dollar amount on a day where the direction is clear, that would probably be in your best interest. And the reason for that is when direction is clear, it is that much easier in the market to make money, right? So it's on days like today, for example, where the market's all over the place, where it doesn't seem like it'd be the best idea to use a heavy dollar amount, right? Days like today, it's all over the place. And, that ultimately ended up biting me in the butt. I lost a decent amount of money, and that all came down to me deciding to trade with a big dollar amount on a day where I probably shouldn't have. So, and the reason why I keep saying I probably shouldn't have is, like I said, so the Nasdaq will have a day where it will consistently sell off, right? Make these lower highs, lower lows, and then what happens is it will have a next day or two where it will be very choppy, right? It'll be all over the place. It'll ultimately be consolidating before it starts to pick back up and then ultimately sell off. So we saw this here, right? Where it had a nice sell off, consolidated, continue to sell off, picked back up, consolidated, continue to sell off. And we just saw this last week, right? So once the Nasdaq sold off, it had 2 days, a period of 2 days where it was very, very choppy, right? So this thing was all over the place, trading between the top and bottom VWAP right around these levels. And so when it starts to trade sideways like this, it really shouldn't be, in your, you shouldn't have it in your head that you want to really maximize profits on those days because direction's not clear. The the Nasdaq itself shifts direction very fast on choppy days like today, right? So as you guys can see over here, this thing changed directions, right? Very, very quickly. And it wasn't honestly very clear on where it was headed today. Like, you could have seen there was a general resistance area right around the top VWAP and then a general support area right around this level. So you could have traded this sideways pattern to make money, but I just unfortunately got burned a bit today on SQs trying to predict when this thing was going to continue to sell off because on the bigger time frames, I thought that we were going to have a huge dip, right? But what I should have seen and been more aware of was the fact that last week this thing was choppy for 2 to 3 days, right? And and then after this nice sell-off on Friday with a clear direction on Monday, right, yesterday, it was very choppy. And so I should have expected today that there could have been a chance that it was choppy, given the fact that we just saw this last week, right? last week it had a nice sell-off and it was choppy for 2 days before it ultimately ended up selling off again. So knowing yesterday was choppy, I should have seen this pattern on a bigger time frame and told myself, you know what? It's probably going to be choppy today, so I'm not going to go ahead and use a big dollar amount, right? It would be in my best interest to stick to a smaller dollar amount on a day like today because of the fact that it's very hard to trade, as you guys can see, right? Very, very hard to find a consistent direction. And that's based off my experience. But, obviously in this type of market, it's easier to make money when the direction is in your favor. And so that's why it would be in your best interest to really use a heavy position size on a day where direction is clear. Days like today, you're not even really missing out on much, even if you decided not to trade. It's these days like today where the market tests us, right? It may be very tempting to trade every day, right? That's kind of why the reason why I decided to today, even though the market was very choppy. It's days like today that ultimately test the trader to make them see whether or not they're able to manage risk well. And, ultimately I paid the price today. My risk management wasn't on point. And so now I am down $200 on the week. So headed into the rest of the week, I have the next 3 days to try to implement better practices. And my game plan is pretty much if it continues to look choppy again tomorrow, right? There's no sugarcoating it. It could continue to be choppy tomorrow. I'm going to try to, trade areas that make sense, right? So maybe when it approaches near the top VWAP, I can think about an SQ's play. And then once it approaches the bottom VWAP, I can think about a TQ play, right? So there may be a chance that the market's choppy tomorrow like it was the past few days, and that's how I'm gonna go about trying to trade it. But like I said, on these bigger time frames, after we see a few days of consolidation, it typically tends to sell off hard, right? Sell off hard. So there's a chance we could see that tomorrow. I'm not saying there's not. So that is something I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for. And if there is a clear pattern, then I'm definitely going to go ahead and be aggressive with it, because it makes sense to be heavy in something when direction is clear. But that is everything that I wanted to leave you guys with in today's video. If you're new to the channel or haven't already, we would really appreciate a subscribe because every subscriber counts. And yeah, we're just new and trying to get this channel going. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something new and something you guys can take away from. But hope all of you ended green today. And yeah, we'll see you guys in tomorrow's recap video. Take care and have a good rest of your day.